Hey gang, Chris from Metal on Earth here. We're going to do Chicken 101 today. We're going to do butchery today, how to break down a whole bird, and we're actually going to get three things out of it. We're actually going to get meat that we can use to eat, we're going to get a carcass and bones that we can use for stock, and we're also going to take the fat and make schmaltz. Great way to save money to buy a whole chicken and cut it up yourself. So don't be afraid, let's start. We're going to start with butchery. First thing to do, we're going to lay down a wet towel to get our butcher cutting board on, nice and safe. We got a nice sharp knife. And we got our organic pasture-raised chicken here. We're just going to start off with our basic butchery. We're going to start with the legs. We're just going to turn it facing us, and you can see this little skin here. We're just going to cut right into that, and that exposes the leg joint. Basically, we're going to come around, and you can kind of see, you can break it open, and that will actually open the joint up here. We're going to come around. There's a line kind of right here, if you can see that. Just right there, I'll just make that little line. That's where we're going to cut. So we're just going to run our knife along there. It'll just run along the bones, turn it over, cut it out right there. We're going to trim this fat off, and we're going to use that for schmaltz. That'll be in a different episode, so just trim that fat off. Any extra fat you want to trim off, you can, or we just leave it. And then we have one leg part. So let's do the other ones here real quick. Again, cut that skin to expose the joint. We're going to come around. Kind of makes a U shape along the back side. Cut around. Turn it over. We're going to crack that joint open. You can hear that. And then cut it open. And we're left with another leg. Now we're going to take the breasts down. We're going to face the top head or the neck end towards us. We've got a bone that runs right along here. That's the sternum bone. We're just going to take our nice sharp knife. We're just going to make a line right down that bone. Your knife will naturally kind of slide to one side or the other. This one slid to the left, so we're going to start with the left side first. And we're just going to use our knife, keeping our fingers away. We're just going to run our knife right alongside that bone and peel the skin or the meat back. You can see it just makes a nice, neat little line down there. As we get closer to the neck, there is a bone in there. It's the old wishbone. It's kind of right here. We can trim that out. We'll get that later. So just keep kind of pulling the skin away. Watch, don't cut your fingers. And just cut along that carcass. You can see there's a little bit of meat left, and that's okay because that's going to make for a really delicious stock. So we kind of have our breast kind of hung on to the end here. There's a couple ways we can do this now. We can cut it right through the joint, which you can see, again, we can just kind of open up the joint and cut in here and take the whole thing off. This will give us a breast with the wing attached. We're going to pull the wing off because we're actually going to use those either for stock or for chicken wings. So again, we're just going to run our knife right along here. There's our chicken wing. Our breast, we're going to trim up a little bit here. Take some of that fat off, but keep all that. Got a little bit of blood here, and that's fine. So we got a boneless skin on chicken breast. We love the skin on because it's got all our good fats, all our nutritional value, all our taste too. So we're going to set that aside, and we're going to do the other one. Alright, so we're going to run our knife carefully along the side of the sternum. I'm going to turn it around. It's a little easier to work on this side if you're right-handed. We're just going to pull that flesh away. Get in there, get right along there. And this one I'm going to do without the wing to show you the other way, so I'm just going to cut this breast right off. So there we have our skin on, boneless chicken breast. If there's any extra fat, we can trim that off, put that in our little pile. Now that leaves our wing attached here. Now we can go, and we can either leave this on if we want to use it for stock, or we can cut it off if we want it for chicken wings. So we're going to expose that joint, cut that off, we got chicken wing. So that leaves us with the carcass, which we're going to trim up a little bit more because we want to get all this lovely fat off for our schmaltz, which is rendered chicken fat, which we can use for cooking. So I'm just going to go through and trim as much of that off as I can through the little tail piece. You can go towards the front, there's always a little around the neck here. And this is all actually really valuable stuff. And that's pretty good. The rest of it we'll kind of leave on because it'll give flavor to our stock. And that's it. That's your basic butchery.